How's it going, everybody? The Seer here, and today we're going to be looking at our Power Trios video. Now, there have been 2 teams added to the game since last time I did this video, and in this video we basically go through what is the priority of the teams that you want to focus on, as well as the trio of that team. For instance, the Annihilators that you see on here right now, the trio of that team would end up being Gladiator, Thanos Endgame, and Gore. Now, Ultimus is a fantastic character, however, he's not really the official third member of that team. Usually these 3 characters are the ones that carry the team. Ultimus is a great plug-and-play character, he works very well on the team. And as you see Silver Surfer, he's usually more of a luxury build type of character. He can work on the team, you can maybe use him a little bit as a plug-and-play, but he's usually the first one that's subbed out for like a Mephisto, Odin, Super Skrull type of character. Now, the next team that we're going to end up looking at is going to be the Astral Team. I had a hard time trying to decide, are the raid teams more important than the Astral Team, which is for Battle World? Right now, the resources don't look appetizing because we are doing the lower difficulties. However, once we get to the higher difficulties, I feel this Battle World is going to be more impactful. In Battle World, you're going to be getting ISO, you're going to be getting the ISO crystals as well, the ions and everything. There's also going to be the null shards, and there's the new store that's in there with a lot of the new characters that's required for the Shadow King unlock. So I did end up putting that as a higher priority. Now, I can definitely see a world where you might think raid is more important, so it's up to you if you want to do raid and then Battle World. To me, the Astral Team is more important. Now, because I don't have Shadow King unlocked, I'm just using Kingpin more as a placeholder. It's more for the memes because Mobile Gamer keeps calling him Kingpin instead of Shadow King. So I just kind of wanted to do that little call out. Now, the Ancient One I do have as one of the trios, and then Doctor Strange as well. The reason I have for this is Shadow King's that new legendary character. He's going to be very impactful and very important. I can see a lot of plug-and-play use for him. The Ancient One, she's going to be given the team that speed up in Battle World, and also in War if you get that Awakened ability. And Doctor Strange is very clutch. I found in my testing, he was very important to the team to where on certain counters I would start losing characters, and then Doctor Strange would ultimate and then bring a lot of the members back to the team, and that really helped me get some clutch wins during my testing. So I do have these 3 characters as the Power Trio or Holy Trinity, whatever it is that you want to call it. After that, we're going to look at the raid teams. Now, I do have Spider Society at the top of the list. That's mainly due to Cosmic Crystal. For those of you that do watch my channel, you know that I'm more of a Cosmic Crystal fiend. So Spider Society is amazing in Room 3 as an offensive tool. I'm able to beat Mephisto comps on there without any sacks whatsoever because of the Spider Society team. Now, after the season is over, it is possible they could drop down and have it to where some of the newer teams kind of rise to the top. That is something you want to kind of be careful of, is when new raids come out, the older raid teams end up getting cycled out for the newer ones. However, right now is Spider Society as the king. The trio that you're going to want to focus on for that is going to be Peter B. Parker, Penny Parker, and Spider-Man Pavitra. Peter B. Parker does healing on the team. It's very impactful healing. He calls the assistant. Spider-Man Pavitra hits like a Mack truck, and he gives the vulnerables. He's a very good plug-and-play character. I can see use for him for a very long time. Now for Penny, she is a very high damage dealer. She has the control with the stuns and everything. The Ghost Spider in Spider-Man Noir, usually one of those will get subbed out for like a Mephisto type. It really depends on the comp. If it's in the raid room, usually you want to use Ghost Spider. Outside of that, maybe in War, you might want to use Spider-Man Noir because the speed that he gives, the bleeds. He's a very impactful character. I really like him. Now we're going to look at the Night Stalkers team. I have them as the next highest raid team. The new stats, being able to use them on offense in Alliance War is wonderful. I'm using them on offense in Cosmic Crucible, and they take out a lot of team comps. The trio for that's going to end up being Blade, Oath, and I actually really like Agatha as that third. Now, you might think that might end up being Man-Thing because he's that pre-taunt. However, the bigger your Agatha is when she gets that ultimate off, it usually just ends the attack that you're doing. It's very impactful and devastating if she gets that ultimate pulled off, on top of the pings that she does when they hit the health barrier. Blade, as soon as you get his ult, the passive awakened, it changes the entire team dynamic. So you want to make sure that you do get his passive awakened, just because having it where there's the assist off any crits, the team is spectacular once you end up getting that going. Oath, being able to get the exposed mechanic out there. She gets the hang and cable type of turn meter on offense, which is wonderful. The drain that she has, the AoE, she's a very good character as well. You do want her to be bigger because she is squishier and she could die a lot easier than some of the other members on the team. So you want to be careful of that. Man-Thing, the reason I don't have him on here is he's more of a standing passive. You want him to be able to withstand the opening barrage because of the taunt that he has. Once that's done, his heal is kind of over. His main thing is the pre-taunt and getting that 20% speed to the entire team. So that's why I don't have him on here. Having those 3 damage dealers and the supports that they do is going to be more impactful for you guys. Now, I had a hard time trying to decide on the 3rd raid team. It was a tie personally for me between Orcus and the Extreme X-Men, so we'll kind of talk about these two together. The Orcus team has the new stats, so that's the tiebreaker that I ended up using. On defense, just the Orcus team and Cosmic Crucible, they're very easy to counter. The Extreme X-Men, they're more of the efficiency sink, so that's kind of a wash right there. On offense, I haven't really had a chance to use Orcus on offense. The Extreme X-Men, I'm a huge X-Men fan. In Alliance War, if we look at that aspect of it, the Orcus team, usually somebody gets subbed out, then you end up putting in like a Mephisto type to really drain that, but that's more the aspect of Mephisto doing that. The Extreme X-Men in Alliance War, even though there's the counter of using like the A-Force with Photon included, that can still fail. So I really think this could be swapped either way. However, because the Orcus team is newer, that means the Extreme X-Men's gonna get dropped off first whenever these new raids come out. I don't know when that would end up being. I'm hoping they do like this is a first strike type of the Orcus, then they kind of ramp it up. As far as the trios go, if we talk about that, for the Orcus team, I picked Nimrod, Lady Deathstrike. They're the 2 main damage dealers on the team. Nimrod getting the speed on the Sentinel bots that end up coming out there is gonna really help the team out in raids or himself outside of raids. Lady Deathstrike is a unit in herself. She can basically clear entire attack teams that come in at them just off the special and the ultimate, then the match is pretty much over. Omega Sentinel, I picked her as the 3rd. She does the out of turn damage, which is very impactful, the healing, and she has that chance to revive on herself, which is gonna basically drain efficiency in Cosmic Crucible, or sometimes cause the win in Alliance Force. That's very impactful as well. Sentinel, he doesn't need to be built huge. Basically, he comes in, the bots come in as the pre-taunt, which is fine, and then when he gets his turn, the safeguard ends up coming online for everybody. You don't need him big, so that's why I don't have him listed on here. Scientist Supreme, she's a standing ultimate. You basically start the match with her, use the ultimate, and that basically is what she does. She's a good character because of that, because the turn meter that she gets on spawn. However, you don't need her big. So this is going to be the trio for the Orcus team. For the Extreme X-Men, it's what everybody knows. Nightcrawler, Gambit, and Forge. Nightcrawler is a great plug-and-play character. Gambit, doing the out-of-turn damage, the bigger he is, the more damage he does off that, and if he gets to his ultimate, it's devastating. Forge, you want to make sure he's huge because of the healing that he provides to the team. He does the revive for the team as well if he gets to his ultimate, and that ends up putting all the buffs on the team. You want to make sure these are the 3 characters you focus on for the Extreme. Now, Sunspot does a lot of damage. He gets the energy battery in raids and outside of it due to the charge mechanic that he has. Cyclops, you don't need him big. He's always the first one that gets subbed out. Even in raids, it ends up being Old Man Logan that enters in. which is really good, having Old Man Logan being able to work with us, or even Rogue in Alliance or Cosmic Crucible. So the flexibility, it's always going to come down to these three as the trio. Now, the next team I ended up going with is going to be the Alpha Flight team. For this team here, we have Sasquatch, Guardian, and Northstar. These three characters are great plug-and-play characters that can be used anywhere. Sasquatch as that pre-taunt character, Guardian being able to give offense up to the entire team, Northstar being able to clear revive onces, which helps counter Dorm and a lot of these characters that's coming out where they can get the revive once. Northstar also being able to go very fast and flip positive effects into negative effects is a great character. As far as Sunfire goes, he's really good in raids. Wolverine is good in Alliance Wars. So that's kind of where those two end up kind of clashing a little bit. Currently, as it stands, people will end up subbing out, say, Sunfire and throwing in like a Super Skrull in Alliance War. That's a really good team. Throwing Dorm in the mix helps counter like the Out of Time team. Whereas in a Cosmic Crucible, you can really use them on the Raid Room right now, or just use them separately as plug-and-play characters. That's usually what I do when there's not the Raid Room going on. Now we have the Hivemite team. I had this on the bottom of the Raid teams. The main reason for that is the new characters that's coming out with those new stats. It's going to be a lot harder to start pushing them into that health threshold, so that way Carnage can start ramping up and giving that Terminator to the entire team. The trio is going to end up being Void Knight, Carnage, and Red Goblin. Now, there's usually a fourth of using like Venom and then throwing in Super Skrull, so that way you have the two heroes, two villains. People still use that in Cosmic Crucible, in Alliance War, or they might end up using Mephisto instead. There's a lot of different ways. However, the trio is always going to be these three. Void Knight's being able to ult on turn 1, clump everybody together. That's going to be able to take off the pre-taunt, the taunts that's come in game. Carnage doing the speed up, and Red Goblin, if he gets to his ultimate, it does a lot of damage, and he also has that charge mechanic where it could bring one of the Hivemind characters back. So this is going to be the trio for the Hivemind. Now that we're out of the raids, the next impactful team is going to end up being the Merc For Money. The trio for this is going to be Old Man Logan, Pandapool, and actually Deadpool. I found that this trio is fantastic in Cosmic Crucible. In Alliance War as well, having it to where these three just bounce off each other for doing the revives as a whole is very hard to deal with and very beneficial for the attacker. Pandapool being able to do the reflexive taunts. Old Man Logan is a fantastic character on how he can do trauma stuns, get the revive out there. And then Deadpool being able to be a high damage dealer, has control using the stealth or the stun, and then the way you can kind of interact with this special to where you can target somebody that has a higher health pool, use the special, that's going to have it to where the assist comes in for Panda and Old Man Logan on the high health character, and then Deadpool can attack the low health character. It's a really cool interaction, and I really love that. Dakin is a great character. He's a really good plug-and-play character, and usually the fourth one that gets subbed out on the team. Deathpool's usually not used on the team because of the new Warriors, and she doesn't really mesh as well. They kind of left that open, so there's more plug-and-play uses for the team on that fifth slot. The next one, I had a hard time trying to decide how to do this. The Illuminati or the Cabal. They're both fantastic teams. I did end up going with the Illuminati first and then the Cabal, but we're going to talk about these two together. Cabal has the higher damage output and more modular to where you can slot that fourth and fifth character in. It doesn't even have to be villain characters. I've used APOC and Red Hulk in Cosmic Crucible. Red Hulk goes very fast, specials. He gets crits out there, which helps the Cabal team and also speeds up APOC. Or you can do like a King and Ultimates to really do a tank breaker type move to get through Black Knights and Cosmic Crucible. It's a really good move for that. The Illuminati, they're very fast, high sustain, and they have very good control. Their damage isn't as good as the Cabal, so it really depends on how you want to do this. They both are legendary unlocked teams. Now, the power trio for the Illuminati, I did end up squeaking them slightly ahead just because of Alliance War. I think that Illuminati is harder to deal with. That was kind of the tiebreaker on which one's better. So I do have Captain Britain. He is starting to become more accessible to people. Build him up if you get him. He has a great control. He's a taunt. He is a game changer in Cosmic Crucible too. Black Panther Shuri and then Hank Pym. So Black Panther Shuri being able to do control, turn meter rewinds, stopping assist. It's very good. Hank Pym with the sustain, being able to throw trauma on the enemy or safeguard on himself. He gives the speed up. He's a good plug and play character for heroes as well, which is fantastic. For the Cabal, it's just a 3-man team, so not much to say. They work very well together. Iron Patriot doing the assist, flipping positive effects to negative effects. Namor, the ultimate, to where he'd do 100% turn meter rewind. It's wonderful. And then Leader, how he's able to sustain. His special basically can delete any character with those assists that come in after he uses the special. Now we have the Undying team. Now, if you are more into Alliance War and not as much into Cosmic Crucible, you can definitely move the Undying team below the Mercs for Money. I think I like Mercs for Money better because they have more use outside of Alliance War. If it's strictly Alliance War, though, Undying is better with the 4-man, and then you can throw whoever you want in, and they can take out Odin comps, Mephisto comps. I'm doing a lot with the Undying team. They're fantastic. The trio for this would end up being Zombie Juggernaut, Scarlet Witch Zombie, and Hela. You want Hela to make sure that she's big, so that way the Undying characters don't start falling apart, because if she goes, then you're not going to be able to get the revives for Zombie Iron Man or Juggernaut, because there's no Gregs to be killed off. She is kind of a central figure for this team. The Zombie Juggernaut is a tank of a unit as far as being able to take a beating and keep going. The Scarlet Witch Zombie is fantastic. I've used her once in Cosmic Crucible. Having her to where that special is able to put safeguard on the entire team as opposed to the Undying is really good. I like her a lot. She hits really hard too. The Zombie Iron Man, you don't need him big. He's a hit-based character, so the bigger he is, it does help, but he could stay at a lower power level, and his gimmick still ends up working to where the enemy starts to kill each other. Now we have the Superior 16. Now, this one's going to be kind of a longer discussion. The trio is going to be Doc Ock, Green Goblin Classic, and Kraven. That's always going to be the core of what I use in Cosmic Crucible and Alliance War. From there, it really depends what you're going against, to where you can use the Spider Slayer or Lizard, or a Lizard and Mysterio, or a Vulture and Mysterio. I've been finding myself more in Cosmic Crucible using the Vulture and Mysterio aspect of the team. However, there are certain matchups where the Lizard is clutch to where he can take off like a Spider-Verse. If there's Spider-Verse on the enemy, he can ult very fast, take off all the buffs. Spider Slayer being able to give the offense up. This team as a modular whole is fantastic, and I love it. However, the trio is going to be Kraven. He gives like the safeguard to the team, the ability block. His ultimate does permakills. It's really good. For Green Goblin Classic, the ultimate where he's able to do a nice turn meter rewind, get trauma out there and everything. He's a very good legendary character. Doc Ock being able to do the deflex for the team, helping them survive the healing. Summon out Shocker, which Shocker, by the way, is a sleeper character. Take a look at his kit if you haven't seen it. I use him sometimes in Alliance War. He's able to do increase the attack power of the team as a whole with his passive, the turn meter rewinds. He's a really good character that nobody really looks at. Now we're going to look at the Out of Time team. Now, before I didn't have this on here, I only had Black Knight on here due to Battle World, and there is a mission node that's going to require the Out of Time team, so I want to throw that on here. The team really revolves around Black Knight and what he can do. However, Captain America being able to do the reflexive taunts, give ability energy, the speed up, he's a really good pair with Black Knight. And then Captain Carter being able to do the healing, cleansing, revives. This is a really good trio. They have fallen off. Black Knight is still a fantastic character, and he's very important in Battle World in itself as far as taking out Null. But because that mission that we have for Out of Time, I want to show you what the trio would be for you to invest in. Cosmic Ghost Rider is a really good plug-and-play character, and he works well on the team. So I do recommend still building the Cosmic Ghost Rider, but he's not the trio for the team. Now we have the Secret Defenders. This is going to be kind of the baseline team for me. They are kind of on the way out, where I don't really use them as much in Cosmic Crucible. In Alliance War, I've been starting to kind of pick members off the team. The Ms. Marvel Hardlight is going to be that good Apocalypse counter, to where if Apocalypse does the ultimate, she's going to throw the taunt on herself. Black Cat is a very good legendary character. She's going to be very good for a long time, to where you can start using her on the Cabal team. I like doing that myself. She has a lot of control with the trauma stuns, turn meter rewinds, and the 9 death proofs. Fantastic character. Ghost Rider Robbie, he's fallen a bit for me as well. He doesn't have those new stats, so he's able to get killed off a whole lot sooner. The speed mechanic that he has with the bleeds, though, is still very impactful. So you can use him on the Undying team in Alliance War. He's really good on that team, so I do recommend that you give that a shot. Photon, she's more on the A-Force team, so I didn't throw her on here. She works very well with the team, but I don't use her as much with it. Doctor Strange, oddly enough, when you have the full 5-man team together, the team works very well now. They got a nice boost because of Doctor Strange's rework. It's just Doctor Strange is now on the Astral team, so he's not really part of this one. Now we have the Mythic Dark Dimension characters. I want to just kind of highlight these 5 characters right here are very good. The Ultimus being on the Annihilators. He's a fantastic plug-and-play character. He got a fantastic rework because of that. The other 4, there's really nothing to say. These 4 characters are still the top characters in the game. Even Super Skrull and Apocalypse with the new meta stats, they're very impactful. Mephisto and Odin are very good. Basically the top 2 characters in the game. Some people thought that Odin wasn't going to be as good. I found a great use with Odin myself. He's great on offense or defense. Now we have the Masters of Evil. Before, I just had King on here, but I want to highlight some legendary unlocks. I'm not going to go too in deep on it. For the Masters of Evil, they do help you unlock the Nova character, mainly focus on Kang. The power trio would end up being Moonstone, Titania, and Kang. Next up, we have the Nowhere team. This is going to be what you want for the Black Cat unlock. Nova's the main character of that team. The other 4 is just more support for him. The trio for this, though, would end up being Cosmo, Infinity War Thor, and Nova. Now we have the New Avengers and Out of Time team. This is what you're going to be needing to unlock Green Goblin Classic. The trio for the New Avengers would be Hydra, Mockingbird, and Ronin. Actually, really good characters. They're still pretty impactful in Alliance War. For the Rebirth team, 2 of these characters are luckily part of the Out of Time team. The third one is going to be the Agent Venom. He's the high damage dealer for that team, to where if you use that ultimate, it clears out the waves. So this is going to be the trio for that. The last team that I want to highlight is going to be the Pegasus team. I do not recommend really building this team because the Astral is coming out. However, due to the elite missions for Battle World, I had to throw it on here. Kestrel being that MSF original is really good as well. She works very well with the Iron Man, Infinity War, and then Rescue being able to do the revives. Now, if you have them partially built, you can throw a little bit more into them until you're able to get the Astral team. If you have not invested in them at all, I would honestly kind of wait and start building up the Astral team. You can do maybe the 2 current Astral characters that's out, the Moondragon and the Doctor Strange. Throw Kestrel in there, and when you get the Ancient One unlocked, slot her in there, and then kind of go that route. But I will start doing these every month whenever new teams come out. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.